Happening. Welcome to episode 2 of A Stoner's Search for the Truth. Now tonight, we got a special treat for you stoners and stonerettes out there in Highland. Motherfucking my boy, Erik Ratka, has come tonight to speak with us about the Mandela Effect. Let's figure out what the fuck this shit is and the truth behind it. We gonna be talking about the Mandela Effect. Gonna ring this man up on the FaceTime. Let's do it. Yee! Right after the intro. Check it out.
Marijuana, smoking the ganja. Puff, puff, pass. Marijuana, smoking the ganja. Puff, puff, pass. Marijuana, puff, puff, smoking the ganja. On the left-hand side.
What's up, everybody? I am your host, Skaz One. Welcome to the second now episode of A Stoner's Search for the Truth. And today we got a special guest with us. Homie, tell him who you are, tell him what you do, and tell him about yourself.
Well, my name is Erik Ratka. I'm from Houston, Texas. Currently living in Monterrey, Mexico. I do rap. Been doing it since about 2006. Had some success with Marquise Trill, Sauce Walker, Dovizi. We did over 200,000 downloads worldwide. And they play my stuff in a lot of countries worldwide. So, with that being said, I pretty much rap. You can find me on YouTube. You can literally Google me, Erik Ratka.
For sure.
In the description, pretty much, most likely. But, with that being said, like I said, shout out to Skaz One. Real talk, I've been jamming the shit out of that.
Right on, man. A lot of people. I got a good response from that. That was a good real talk. That's one of my songs. For those of you who don't know, the video is on my channel. Check that out. Erik likes it. He vouches for it. So you'll probably like it too. Anyway, so we got me in the little box. We got you in the big box, and today we are talking about the Mandela Effect. I want to get down. I want to get down to the bottom of this.
Mandela Effect. Basically, the phenomenon where like people can think back and they kind of remember two different things. For example, Skaz here will remember a certain thing, a certain event, a certain product, a certain movie that happened a certain way or existed. In reality, the way I see it, it never did happen, or it was, different. We can go right off the bat. Like I said, the most famous one that you could see is the Bernstein Bears.
Yep.
I'll probably know those kids' books and those little children's books with the little family of bears. But I always thought it was spelled Bernstein. At the end, Stein, and it was really Burns like stain, Stain. But I swear that it was Steen, and like
me too.
They say it was like an alternate universe kind of thing.
I remember it being Berenstein as well, like as if they were a Jewish family of bears or something. You know what I mean?
Exactly what I used to think.
It's but Berenstain even sounds weird, and that's not, as you'll hear in this conversation, that's not the only product or book or title or spelling change. There's spelling changes. There's geographical changes. And then there's people remembering shit differently. Well, you know what I mean, from other people. And it's taking. I guess it's widespread, which is why it has kind of become a known phenomenon. But you, Erik, do you believe in the Mandela Effect? And if so, tell us why. What evidence convinced you?
I do. I mean, it's as simple as what it is. It's just people remember certain things a certain way. With me, to be honest with you, if I could just boast on one thing and really say something about myself, it's that I have an amazing memory.
For sure.
Like, I literally will remember how your shoes were tied like 2 years from now or 5 years from now. Shit that don't really matter. Like, I remember details.
Yeah.
And I remember things a certain way, and they really, it turns out they were never that way. For example, we all probably know what Febreze is. You probably gonna spray that shit if you do, or maybe you'll leave the smell there. But Febreze, anyways, I always thought it was spelled Febreze. F-E-E-Z-E. Turns out it's F-E-B-R-E-Z-E. And I seen that a few years back, but I've always didn't really think about it until I really learned about this. Another big one, I don't know, I think we talked about it, and you weren't on this one or agreeing on this one, but I remember that movie. I don't know if you know the one Kazam with Shaq.
Yeah.
That happened. I've seen it, and I know that. But there's a story real similar to it, and it was the other dude, Sinbad,
We did talk about this.
When I found out about it, I was reading like the article that was talking about it, and like everything they described, I was like, "Oh shit, I remember that. I remember that scene and this and this." And then at the end, they're like, "That never happened." I'm like, "What the fuck you mean it didn't happen?" It was coming back to me, picture perfect.
Yeah, see, you remember that one, and I don't, and that's a good example of what's going on right there. Like
New Zealand.
Yeah, that too. I was looking at a map on a Mandela Effect video, and they were showing, how South America is over to the right now instead of being directly below North America, and how New Zealand is now below Australia, whereas I thought it was above Australia, but you remember it as being below the whole time.
Yeah, I remember New Zealand being under Australia. The way it is, I've always seen that, and that's more so because my stepdad had one of his really good friends was from New Zealand. So like when I looked on the map as a kid, I remember seeing that, at least at 8 years old and on. So I knew at that point. The South America thing, that part too, I kind of remember being the other way.
Have you gotten a chance to look at a map since the last time we talked?
To be honest with you, I haven't even really looked at no fucking map.
Yeah, I know. I'm just fucking with you.
I haven't looked at it.
But just we've been talking about different evidence and stuff, and so do you think that this effect is kind of important for us in our daily lives? Is it affecting us? Is it important? Does it matter? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's actually what I'm literally looking at is what I'm about to say. the butterfly effect type shit. I think I went on it before when I talked with you. Basically, I feel like we would probably never realize if it happened. There's actually a good example. If you have a cardboard box and you put a cat in it with like a little bomb that's a nuclear bomb. I don't know if you've heard of that. A
Schrodinger's cat?
Yeah, Schrodinger's cat.
Yeah.
It would never know if it like died or you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Basically, with the Schrodinger's cat theory is that if a cat you don't even need to put it inside a box with a bomb. You could just put it in the box and close the box and not put any air holes in it, and maybe the cat died, and maybe the cat didn't. So it's both alive and dead at the same time, in a sense, because you don't know for certain. Because say it doesn't make any noise. You know what I mean? It's not moving. It's asleep or something, and so you don't know whether it's alive or dead. So in that moment, because of the way the world is perceived by human beings, it becomes a Schrodinger's cat, and it is both alive and dead.
Something like that.
In a weird sort of way, like because and then when you open the box, reality becomes reality. Like but as long as the box is closed, you could kind of go like on a fork in the space-time continuum almost. Like you don't know which way you're going for sure until you open the box and figure out what the cat is or is not, That's that's the Schrodinger's cat. And
why I mention that is because I feel like it's something like that. They say that the whole reason the Mandela Effect even is what it is because you remember a certain way, I remember a certain way. At some point, our realities or universes like came together or split apart. Maybe the Enrique that I know isn't really the Enrique I knew as a kid or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? We split and it's a whole different one, and you came into this one, I went into yours. It's kind of something similar to that. And kind of we talked about before when we had talked with each other about Back to the Future.
Oh yeah.
Back at the time, the split. You know what I'm saying? And I was gonna get into that too. which I don't know if you heard of John Teeter. Or
Actually,
anybody watching.
yeah, because we talked about John Teeter, and since then I went and watched a few videos about and more about him, and heard a little, saw some of the emails and heard some of the messages he sent to people, you know.
Yeah.
And but tell the people about John Teeter, because they probably don't know.
You know, I first heard about him back in '02. I was like 11 years old. My dad actually was an avid listener, Coast to Coast with George Norrie and like, you know, all that with Art Bell.
Yeah.
And, you know, this dude basically comes on the radio one day, back like in '01, I think like September, claiming he's a time traveler. He lays down some rules, basically. He's not going to give any kind of, you know, World Series information, no kind of like financial gain type information, blah, blah. The whole reason he jumped back, he said at that time, or in the year 2000 or 2001, he was 6 years old. And that the reason of coming back at that time was basically to come tell us some stuff that I'm about to say and see himself. He originally had to jump back to the 70s to get like some IBM computer that he didn't have or they needed in the future.
It was
And
was the computer he needed was because it had some component to it, right?
yeah, it was like a component that didn't like exist in the machine. So basically, he comes back and he's talking about, you know, how all these different things happen. He's like, whenever you go back in time, you're not necessarily going back to the same timeline. It's kind of parallel in a sense. He's like, so what I tell you might not be 100% accurate. It might happen or might not. You know, he claims that there's actually something at this moment, but when I say this moment, I'm talking 2001. It's like at this moment, there's something it's going to go on. It's going to like basically, it's going to lead to the invention of time machine and even make this possible. And the dude's like 36 at the time. He's 6 years old when he's going back, so you can do the math. Like 30 years later, so
Okay,
a lot less time from now. And he also talks about in 2005, in his reality, there's a civil war. Now, the tripped out thing about it is, one thing he was right about in that time, if you really think about it, what was being invented, and really in our reality it was CERN.
true.
CERN, by 2010, ends up becoming a thing, start finding about multiverses, and it's like, oh shit, that could be what starts the whole time travel thing, and they talk about how that created like Mandela Effects too at CERN, the stuff that they're doing. He also says people ride bikes a lot in the future now. Like there's more local based kind of stuff. Everybody lives like in like tree houses and type stuff.
Interesting.
And the Civil War thing, if you think about it, it could have been that, you know, a lot of people think Trump's going to have a civil war going. And it's not really necessarily because of Trump. It really just brought out a lot of both sides of America type thing. You know, I feel this way, you feel this way, and everybody's just like, everybody's divided, to be honest.
It's real. Everything's emotionally charged in America right now. For people who don't know, real quick, CERN is it's a research organization, and it operates the largest particle physics laboratory in the world. So it has also, I believe, the largest particle collider in the world.
It's a what is it, the Hadron Collider?
Yeah, the Large Hadron Collider, I believe is what it's called. And so they can do things that nobody else can do. You know, with particles and science and, you know, wormholes and things we don't quite understand.
And it's true, and we're really not off topic here because they say that, like, you know, they see all kinds of weird stuff in the sky over CERN. CERN goes in through like multiple countries. It's an underground, like think of a big donut under the ground, like inside that little tube, the pipe they shoot like the atoms and stuff, and basically like, you know, split particles and stuff. And they say that could lead to like reality splitting because of that. And whether you want to deny it or not, science has proven that there are like multiverses. There are so many limitless possibilities. So this all ties in with the Mandela Effect. And another thing, like I was saying, it could split things apart because back to John Teeter, it could have been Trump that won back in '04 in his reality. And then all this happened now, but it happened then. You know what I'm saying? The Civil War type thing. I mean, maybe we're just in another split where it doesn't have a civil war here, but we get really close to it. Or maybe it does happen. I mean, you don't know.
I guess with infinite timelines and infinite possibilities, everything, like they say, everything does happen, everything has happened. Like in the multiverse theory and in the multi-dimension theory, everything has happened basically, and everything will happen because the possibilities are infinite.
True.
And what are so other than CERN, what are some other possible reasons that you've heard for what's caused the Mandela Effect?
Shit, that everybody's just crazy and just hallucinating what's going on. But seriously, besides CERN, and to be honest with you, if I really had to take a shot at it, I really would go with CERN. That's what it is. But I mean, it could not even be that. It could just be shit that we don't. You know, 50 years ago we didn't know what we know now. It could be something with the universe just jumps like that. And
True.
It sounds crazy, but stuff that happens now sounded crazy 50 years ago if you really think about it.
Yeah, life
So
is stranger than fiction sometimes. It's nuts. Like the especially the progression you're talking about. It is crazy. Like think about how our grandparents must have felt watching all that happen. It happened so fucking fast.
They did. You can't put it past it. You know, it's out there, but you got to be open to that possibility because it's true. I think you don't know. It's true that it could be. That could be what it is. We don't know. The universe jumps and changes, or who knows? I mean, it sounds crazy, but it could be true.
So, one other possible theory that I've heard is that the world actually ended in 2012, and the government or whoever controls Earth or whatever, they found some way to make a data bank of everybody's consciousness, sort of like a Matrix style. We all died, but they were able to just transfer us into a digital world somehow.
Yeah.
And now we're living in sort of a virtual reality where our consciousnesses are just plugged in to a super database somewhere that survived, some kind of apocalypse.
Yeah, even like the computer stimulation theory type stuff going off into that. That is tripped out. That is crazy if that's the truth. I mean, that I really never heard of that one specifically that you said about the world ending and until you told me last time. But that one for me personally is a little bit out there. But if it fucking happens, you'll be the first one. I'll come shake your hand and be like, "Holy shit!" If I can do that, I'll come smoke a blunt with you. But that one does trip me out. That's because I like the Matrix and I know how that looked.
Right,
Am I like A, but in a little pod somewhere?
The red pill or the blue pill.
Some like infinite fucking black pit where all the little caskets are everywhere. I don't know.
It'd be so crazy. Weird. That would be definitely a trip out, no doubt. So, do you, as far as Nelson Mandela goes, do you remember him dying in 2013, or do you remember him dying in prison in the 90s? Or do you remember him at all? Some people.
No, I know exactly who he is. He's actually a figure that was like taught to me throughout my whole life, and in school and stuff. And I knew exactly who he was, and I know exactly that he died in 2013.
Yeah,
that's how I remember. I remember going to prison. I mean, learning about it, but he never died there. Not for me, anyways.
That's how I remembered it too. Is that he got out and apartheid ended, and then he died. About 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's how I remember.
There are a lot of people on the internet claiming that they remember it. That they remember him dying
back then.
Yeah, back in the prison.
That's how this whole thing started, really.
Well, yeah, that's why that's how the name got coined. That was the first tip off, I guess, to conspiracy theorists that something weird might be going on.
Yep.
And I personally, since the last time we talked, I've been trying to figure out what there is to gain necessarily by keeping the truth from the world's population. I mean, I understand that if you told everybody the truth, maybe it would cause a mass panic, depending on what caused the Mandela Effect. But sometimes I wonder why they wouldn't just tell us, well, hey, yeah, there's some different stuff going on, and we had to do it because, of this, and everybody's better off for it because of this. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Shit, yeah. This goes back to basically me as a teenager being high and making my little cousin work for me. Like, go take this out, give me some water. I would bribe them with cookies. You know what I'm saying? It's so crazy. But I'd give them cookies and shit. And they'd go do it. But if they knew where the cookies were at, they're not going to come to me anymore. They're not going to want to, they're going to know, they're going to have that knowledge. And I couldn't move, I couldn't hide the cookies at my grandma's house. They were that little fucking pig. You take the head off and the cookies in the little jar.
Yeah.
No, it's kind of the same thing. I think if people know too much, think of what we could do. We could revolt. Maybe they're doing something we're not really, going to be really accepting of, and we're going to revolt against it. Sometimes it's better for things to just be left unsaid. I think that's why they keep things from us, so they can move on with their agenda or what they might. And in their head, we might think it's evil, but they're like, oh, this is justified. This is right. This is what we need to do for mankind. And maybe it is. Maybe they have more insight. They see something and it looks evil to us, but really, it's a tough decision. It's like being a president. You're not going to please everybody at all times. You're going to piss a lot of people off. But you have that information that we don't have. Maybe that's the best decision.
True.
Doing that. And I think it's kind of the same thing, really.
Well, let's hope that the powers that be, have our best interest in mind. At the end of the day, hopefully,
Hopefully. And I'm very optimistic, but sometimes I don't really think so. That's not really the case. I like to think it's all perfect, but man is corrupt. You, me, people watching, we all have our downfall and our, root of evil, whatever you want to call it.
It's true.
Think about it. Oh shit, perfect though.
Yep.
Think about it whenever, I don't know, when you got that much power and that shit, it could change it, man. Whether you say it won't change me or not.
It's true.
I mean, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but it could.
Yeah.
That's a lot of power.
Who knows what anyone would do given they became president. That's why Donald Trump is so scary. Though we've made it a year and not much has changed yet. So hopefully it'll just stay that way, and just then we can vote him out of office in, 2022 or something like that.
Yeah.
2020, I don't remember. 2020, we'll vote him out of office.
Yeah, 2020 when the next one comes, 4 years later.
As long as he doesn't cause a civil war.
Let's hope that don't happen. But I've seen a lot of people act, like I said, I'm actually from Houston, but been out here in Mexico since March, and I actually seen talking about Trump. They're wearing like an outfit where like your pants are like the Donald Trump pants.
Yeah.
And you got like his head and body as a doll kind of by your stomach, and then you wear a soccer jersey, and like there's fake legs of you. Basically, like Trump has you around his shoulders, like carrying you. You know what I'm talking about? Like
he's giving you a piggyback.
Yeah, your top, but like around his neck. The top part is the soccer jersey, which you're wearing.
Yeah.
The pants, Donald Trump's pants, and his body's like holding you. Like it looks like.
That's funny. I mean, they must fucking hate him down there, I would assume.
Yeah, it's nobody fucking likes him here.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this though, looking at the news here, you gotta be awake. I don't care what side of the party you are or whatever. This is just get your own information, get your own knowledge. I literally watched the credible news here that played his voice when I'm listening to it, knowing English. And I'm watching the subtitles, and it's not even the same shit. Like, they literally were changing shit because people will fall for it here. So,
wow. Open
your eyes and shit. And they're spinning it off, making him really worse than he was, or making stuff to their benefit. So, that's with anybody. We're corrupt. They're really corrupt.
Everybody has an agenda, unfortunately.
It is.
And that's what this show. That's what this show is here for, is to find the truth. Like this is why I'm doing this. I want this to be a credible source of information. I mean, it's going to be a lot of opinions and stuff thrown around, but I don't have any agenda with this other than to get down to the bottom of what the fuck is going on in the world. Like,
And
whether
I'll say, with the whole Trump situation in America, if you're watching this and you really think about it, don't take CNN's word, don't take Fox News' word. Trump isn't as good as they say, and he's not as bad as they say. Things aren't really, things are made a lot worse. It just depends who's spinning it off. It's going to be made look good for him or bad for them. I really don't think he's racist. I really don't. I think he's like a kid at a talent show that says like the punchline at the wrong time. and I really think in some things he does mean well. And I honestly do. I just think he comes off in a certain way that just pisses people off. And I think a lot of people have gotten real sensitive about things and they get offended really easy these days. I mean, that's my opinion. I really do think that. But I think at the end of the day, what they're trying to do is divide us. That's the worst thing that we can even let happen. We're the ones in power, to be honest with you. We're a majority. We're a lot more than whether you think they got the control or not. You're giving them that control if you think that. Just don't get divided. Anybody watching, do your math and don't love Trump as much and don't hate him as much. It's really not all what it seems. You gotta use your brain.
Keep your eye on the big picture. But so Eric, I want to thank you for coming on the show. Trying to help us, find a little knowledge today. Is there anything else you want to plug? Any shout outs you want to give?
Man, shout out Dirty D, 9MM, 9 Malicious Mind States. Erik Ratka is my name. ErikRatka for all of you that don't know. You can literally Google me. You can put it in YouTube. I make music. I make vlogs. You know what I'm saying? We've recently had a lot of success and things have been going up. So let's hope it keeps going that way. And if you do end up supporting me, I do appreciate you. And hashtag catch a positive wave. That is my positive movement. You can find me on Twitter, like I said, Instagram, all that stuff, promoting positivity. And again, you need a like, you need a share, you need a shout out. Hit me up on social media. Be more than happy to do it for you. Let's link up. And other than that, y'all catch a positive wave. I appreciate you, Skaz. And until next time, hopefully you invite me back on the show, some other topic.
For sure, man. Definitely. Right on.
All right.
I'll catch you later.
All right. Y'all catch a positive wave.
Peace.
I'll see y'all later.
Right. So, that's what we know now about the motherfucking Mandela Effect. It's really up to you whether you believe or not. Make sure to go out there on your Google. Most of us carry a computer in your pocket. Look this shit up, man. It's interesting stuff, dude. The Mandela Effect, it may very well affect the whole world. It may very well be real. As always, stay smooth, stay safe, and stay stoned. Peace. If you enjoyed that episode, let us know. Leave a comment, smash the like button, and make sure to subscribe and check out the rest of the videos on my channel, including my music and all other kind of dope shit. Like